I am so happy that you are here today, all of those of you who are beloveds right here in front of me, as well as all of you who are in front of me online out there, knowing there's no time or space in God, that we know that you are right here with us for this beautiful time of celebration and inspiration. So, let's begin with prayer. I invite us to turn within for just a moment. I am Reverend Gregory Toole, and let us just turn within to know that beautiful truth. One life, one power, one presence, one infinite presence of love, wholeness, harmony, one infinite intelligence expressing at every point of existence, one power. All of life is one. And being that as it is, I know that my very life is an expression of that one. And I know that everyone here, everyone listening, everyone who concerns us is a divine expression of that infinite perfection. In this awareness, I bless our time here today. I know it is so perfect. I know that exactly the right people have shown up to make the perfect configuration of individuals to co-create something really beautiful here this morning. I know that our speaker, Reverend Katherine McKinney, is a perfect vehicle and vessel for Spirit to deliver the message. I know that our musician, Elise Carver, is also this perfect instrument, vessel, vehicle through which Spirit does great ministry, great uplifting. I know that each one of us are a vessel to bring forth that essence of who we are that shapes what happens here this morning. It is so perfect. I am grateful. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Well, welcome once again. Let's silence our cell phones so we won't have any interruptions. So do that thing. Turn them off, silence them, throw them out the window, whatever works. So, I want to share a few announcements here. Our Holiday Fall Festival is back. Save the date for October 26th. After the Sunday service, 12 to 1:30 p.m., the teen group will be putting on this favorite fundraiser for teen camp, and there will be trick-or-treating and a costume contest for the kids, and you can wear a costume. You can wear a costume as well if you like. Tarot readings by our own Elise Carver, and tea leaf readings by Patty Donnelly. And I haven't talked to Robin, who's kind of organizing this yet, but we may also have someone who's very expert in numerology. So you may also be able to get a numerology reading while you're there as well. And games and the legendary cakewalk for all. It's going to be a cakewalk. If you'd like to donate a cake to the Cake Walk, please see Robin, the Children's Program Director. Everyone is invited to bring a bag of candy for trick-or-treating during hospitality. See you there. If you're interested in running a game you've done in the past, also see Robin. Apparently, I haven't been here for that. Apparently, there's some games that get run and people lead them, so that will be fun and exciting. Tonight, 7 p.m., over in Richelieu Hall, Ecstatic Dance with DJ Ryan, and I'll be there as well. It'll be a beautiful time to just be free in our bodies. Volunteer Fair is coming up this Sunday. This Sunday after service, Richelieu Hall. We're going to have all of our different ministry teams and committees and all of that, all the ways that you can get involved with the center. You can meet with them directly and hear about how you could get involved and how you could be a part of that. And that's one of the key ways that we get connected into the center, is to join a team. So there will be tables out there in Richelieu Hall, and you'll be able to go from table to table and just talk to the people who are leading those about what are the ways that you can get involved. Also, this Sunday is the Women's Circle, 12:30 in the teen room. Vegan Potluck is a week from today, next Wednesday at 6 p.m. in Richelieu Hall. If you haven't been to one of those, or if you have been to one of those, come and enjoy the delectable delights. And you'll find out that I'm not, as a vegan, I'm not suffering in my eating. You'll find out if you come there, you go, oh my goodness, you're eating such great food. So that's why I'm always smiling, because I'm always eating really good vegan food. And then we got Let the Ghoul Times Roll concert and dance party by the Soundscape Orchestra, Friday, October 17th. So not this Friday, but the following Friday, 6 p.m. in Richelieu Hall. You're invited to bring cookies or water bottles as a donation. Cookies will get you everywhere. 4 Money Truths is a workshop. 4 Money Truths to live by while transforming your money story. That's a workshop with Marla Diane, Sunday, October 19th, 12:30. And it's going to be really good. She's been teaching this and facilitating workshops around transforming your money story for a really long time. And she's got some powerful tools and practices for us. So stay tuned and come on and join us on October 19th. Our Remembrance Day is coming up on November 2nd, and you could bring a flower with you if you want to honor the memory of your loved one during that service, and we'll have the slideshow. It's going to be great. You'll get to see my dad, a picture of my dad, actually as a young man in military uniform. It's a cool picture. Update your contact information with us. We want to make sure we can get in touch with you anyway, but also we want to make sure we have your birthday, because one of my favorite things is to sign birthday cards when it's people's birthdays. I love doing that. Flyers for all of our events can be found at the activity table in the lobby. Full list of activities, and you can see in the weekly e-newsletter, Spirit Speaks magazine. Finally, a big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. Thank you all so much. Let's give a hand to our beautiful volunteers. Our speaker today is the one and only amazing Reverend Katherine McKinney. And before we bring up Reverend Katherine, we're going to have a song from our awesome lead musician, Elise Carver.
Thank you. This song is called With Your Love, O God, and it's by Denise Rosier. You are the light in a darkened room and rain on a desert floor. Love beating in the hardest heart, calm to a raging storm. You're the miracle of miracles, moving through everything, and you move in me. You move in me. You are the bread for a hungry soul, life with the truth laid bare. The moon that glows with the light of the sun, but even that can't compare. You're the wonder of wonders, shining through everything, and you shine in me. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up, pure and holy. I am solely what you've made me with your love, oh God. I am a precious sacred gift you have opened up, like the stream that spills from the edges of an overflowing cup. You're the blessing of blessings, flowing through everything, and you flow through me. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up. You are holy. I am solely what you've made me with your love, oh God. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up. I am alive with your love, oh God. You are high and lifted up, pure and holy. I am solely what you've made me with your love, oh God. I am solely, I am holy. Yes, I am solely what you've made me with your love, oh God.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone that's here today. I am talking today about the power of faith. And so we're going to get to that and why is that important? Why is faith important? And exactly what is it to each of us is the question. Well, I start out by thinking about the nature of change in my own life. And I recognize as I've been sort of, thinking through things that I'm talking today, is one of the ways I have dramatically experienced change is by experiencing the seasons. I have been a walker for, as many years and more that Maureen McKinney is, because I started running at that point. I started walking at that point. I had run before. And 3 miles, and for 15 years at least, I walked outside. And I have literally walked outside for 45 minutes most days from sea to shining sea. I did it on the East Coast, which is where I started, and I have done it here on this coast since I've lived here. And one of the things that happens when you do this all the time is you experience the seasons up close and personal. You spend 45 minutes walking pretty much the same route because I clocked it, so I'd know how much 3 miles was. I could see, for example, in the place where I lived before I moved here, down at Torrance up on the hill, somebody I would notice on a Monday morning had planted new flowers in their yard. And so I watched them grow day after day after day. Sometimes the change may be imperceptible, but it absolutely happens, and you see it every day. And so I have no longer walk on the streets. I use a treadmill, but partly because of weather and darkness. And so I also, where I sit in the morning, and maybe it's my experience in years past, of seeing the drama, and especially when you live in a cold place, because I lived in Colorado, and when the snow blankets everything in the deep of winter, and what is there, because I lived on a mountain, it was in the woods at one point, and you could see all the way back, and you see fox jumping over things. It's very, very special to observe all of those things going on. And then as the seasons change, as spring comes, gradually all of that greenery fills in. And by summer, especially late summer, you can't see in at all. It is thick with greenery, and it changes every day, a little bit every day. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, we all are doing that every day, each of us changing, however imperceptibly. Even in my own chair in the morning, whose experience I treasure, I could see life changing. I go outside with my daughter most mornings, even if it's dark. The birds are starting. There's this life that's just urging all of nature to keep changing. And so it is with every one of us. How many of us have heard, change is happening all the time. Oh, change, don't worry about staying where you are because it's going to change. How often have we said that without embodying that as part of our own nature and what we do with the fact that things change. And that is the question that I'm thinking of today. So I would like you to say with me now, if you will, I am changing every day. I'm changing every day, because you are. We're changing right now. And so with that in mind, Ernest Holmes talks about this idea of the divine urge within us to be more than we are, that we come here with the idea of changing and being more than we are. He says that there is a divine reality behind every one of us. Each of us is created out of this absolute mold that's unique to each one of us. And it is the adventure of our lives to keep changing with the flow to see where life takes us. Now, one thing I have noticed is not everyone keeps looking at life as an adventure and seeing where life takes us. And I wonder about that. But he goes on to say that this idea that life is changing is just simply a way to move forward. Now, keep in mind, as a historical idea, a note about Ernest Holmes, he left home when he was 15 years old. He lived in this very wooded area, remote, and went to the big city. And he was the youngest of 9 children. He was so curious all the time, he was called the question mark. His brothers were so tired of answering his why questions. And so he left home and went to find out things. And that's what he did. He wanted to see, he didn't have the goal of starting a new faith tradition when he left, but he had the urge within him to get out and learn things. And so he went to Boston. And so he took classes. He went to the Mother Church in Christian Science. He worked for a relative, and he did everything that he could do. He wanted to be out in the world. And in the course of doing that, he did learn things. But I think that's partly why that notion of curiosity is partly why he admired people like Emerson so much, and Gandhi, and Einstein. These are people he mentions specifically. They all lived during his time. And he said that they had this insatiable curiosity to learn about life. And he said they also had an innate understanding of the divine behind all of the reality that they saw. And they kept urging to do this. And he said, the thing of it is, though, that we can read all of these wonderful musings and writings of wonderful people, learned things, but if we don't digest it, if we don't make it our own, we're almost wasting our time, because we're not willing to take on those new things. He said Jesus actually ran into the same problem. He was constantly telling the disciples and to the crowds that he was talking about that there is a power that's right where you are. It is a power that you can use in your own life. And he gave many examples of doing that. But ultimately, he kept saying, the Father is right here. It's right here, not in some far off place. It is here now. And so as he moves through all of this time, he begins to talk about having the idea of knowing that something is so. And so that is where the notion of faith comes in. Faith is this way of knowing. It's a mental attitude that we embrace and that we pull into our thinking so that we can keep the idea that we're holding. He said, if you're reading the ideas and not digesting, if you're taking classes and not digesting, there is that extra step that we must spend the time to know that something is so and to keep moving forward with that idea. until that change that we're seeking actually happens. Now, there are times in our lives when we know and know change is coming, but we've had some changes we don't like. And it may need a change of attitude, it may need a change in focus, and that comes from having the idea of reading the things, learning the things to right a situation from the way that it is. And when he says that with that right attitude of faith, we can turn confusion into peace. We can turn disharmony into a harmonious way of being. We can turn darkness into light. And we do it with this power of faith that is knowing that it's so. And we often say in the close of a Science of Mind treatment that we know it is so. But that knowing has got to be real for each of us in order to bring about those changes. And so he keeps talking about this idea of moving forward, keeping that faith. Now, as things change that we don't like, we have to decide how we're going to talk about that. We were reading seminar lectures this morning in our book group, and Ernest Holmes is speaking in this book. He's speaking more about how we deal with things that come along. Something happens to us, and we're not happy about it. And he says that when we're not happy about it and we don't take care of it and move forward, what he says is, it's a beautiful metaphor, but he says we carry the corpse. The corpse is the word he uses, of yesterday into today. And as long as we keep doing that without affirming a truth about whatever that discord was, without changing that, then we are not changing the way we want to. We're merely supporting something that is no longer true, that is not true for us, that we don't need to be true. Because there is, if every day we are changing, the whole key to this is that we have the right, the responsibility, and the ability to direct the change. To direct the change in the way we want it to go. And so that's where faith comes in. Because that idea is that you must know, not that you will anything into believing, it is never that, but keep knowing that truth. The truth about there is no such thing as disease. We read that this morning. There is simply the idea behind the way things appear in this life. Nothing changes without a change of thought. And so there are times in our lives when we want to change, especially if we've gotten a diagnosis or bad news or any number of things that happen. And then we very concretely seek assistance if we need it from a practitioner, from a minister, or whatever. But there are other times when it seems so small, it's not that big a deal. But every time something happens in your life that is something that you weren't expecting, it is a signal that there's something that was misaligned. It may not be a big deal. But if you takes your attention, is there something that needed to change in association with that? Like something that you let go, something that you forgot, a mistake that you made. Yes, we all make mistakes. We absolutely do. But do we learn from those mistakes? Do we take a look at what has happened and go, I wonder why that happened? I had something that I discovered like that really just Saturday or Sunday that I read this thing, and I was puzzled about what it was. And so I kept thinking I kept thinking I'm going to have to think about this to figure out, because it was unexpected and I didn't know what I might have done. And then last night I was preparing and talking, and I wasn't thinking about that particular thing, but what just plopped into my head, I went, oh, I bet that's what it was. And it wasn't anything wrong or bad. It was just something, and it got my attention. And now I can use it to explain what happened in the test that I took. But you see, when we seek answers, when we put out there that this is what we want, I cannot tell you how easy it is that those answers just come. Yesterday, I had spent time, actually even the day before, but a good bit yesterday, going from store to store to store. And I was looking for one thing. It was just a spice. But they didn't have any at this store. They didn't have any at that store. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have time to go to the phone or to call people or something like that. At the end of the yoga class, who pops up but the person that I might have called, who told me exactly where I could get it. I'm telling you, all you have to do is put out there what you need, and it's not like a miracle, except that it is, as Elise sang. I believe in miracles. I absolutely do. When things happen that you want, that you were asking for, and it just plops, doesn't that feel like a miracle? So why can we not do that with anything? And the answer is that yes, we can. We can do that. But that faith is what we build over time, practicing. And so in the morning, when I sit in that wonderful chair, and the daylight is as it is today, which is different from yesterday, and the darkness is different today than it was yesterday, all of these things. But what I know is the change reminds me that I am changing. And so when I go into my meditation time, when I go into that space where I'm creating treatments, when I am just simply contemplating how my life goes, I'm going at it with this notion that change is always happening and I can direct the change. That is a theme. And by this time, I've built up a level of faith that enables me to know I didn't even ask, God, please show me where to find the spice. It just happened. And I cannot tell you how many times that has happened for me. I'd bore you with those times. But it is real, and it does show up in your life. And it happens when you practice knowing the truth and having faith that whatever it is you need shows up. Troward actually says something like that he thinks that treating every day just for your good, for in general what is best for you, the highest, being very general is actually the best way, because you leave it to your soul, to that eternal part of yourself to sort all that out. And you accept it as it comes. And there is something to be, Troward was an expert at these things. Troward said a lot of things in his teaching that we probably don't agree with, because he was a little out there sometimes. He actually said we could treat ourselves younger and younger and younger. He said that. And there's a resistance to that. There's no such thing as aging. There is none of that. And that idea that we don't have to, things just happen. And I have relatives. Let me just back up and say, I've had the experience with relatives who are accepting levels of infirmity. Well, as you get older, these things just happen. Or accidents. Well, just things I don't think I had to do. It is, I don't know. There's nothing you can do about that. Those things just happen. I don't want to have that attitude. I do not want that. I don't think there's an inevitability of anything. I do not have to walk slower. I do not have to fall down. I do not have to worry about my balance. I want to know that I can do this all the time. And I do it by practicing that. What do you want to do? How do you want to be? And that's the question you have to answer. Maybe you don't really care how that is. And I accept that. But what do we accept because we think it's inevitable as opposed to we want it? That is the question. And see, with faith, you can move the needle. Even wherever you are, you can move the needle to stronger, to more fit, healthier, more joyful, more successful. I can go on and on. One of the things that I've currently added to my list, and this is the truth, prosperity of time. Go ahead, laugh. That is exactly what I'm doing. I do not want to feel that there's not enough time. There's always enough time. So I'm including that in my consciousness, prosperity of time. And so as we move toward the end of this service, what I would like for us to take away is not the negative aspects of anything, but to focus on what we want and how we want to change. The change is happening. Our cells are changing as we sit there, but we can direct that change. Are we going to direct it specifically? Maybe we are. Are we just going to join Troward and say that I am changing for the better? Or as Coué said, who Ernest Holmes quoted, every day and every way, I'm changing for the better and better. Every day and every way, I'm changing to be better and better. And we can do that. That's essentially a more crisp way of saying what Troward suggested that we say. It is that I am changing for the best, not just the better, but the best. And every day we can be the best. And it's all a matter not just of deciding, but deciding and knowing that it's so. Because the other thing about faith that Ernest Holmes said is that it's not just prophetic, meaning I am gaining the money that I need for my rent, so it's something that hasn't happened yet. It's not prophetic, just prophetic. What it also is creative. You're creating that pathway toward exactly what you want. So thinking of faith that way, thinking of it as being creative as well as knowing that it's happening, makes faith an incredible idea. And Ernest Holmes said that it is done unto you as you believe, and he's quoting Jesus who said, it is done unto you as you believe. And believe, ladies and gentlemen, is faith. That's what faith is. And so remind yourself of this as often as you need to. And remember that this belongs to each of us in the way that we embody it for ourselves. So, every day and every way, I am getting the best and the best. And so it is. Thank you all. And so we are going to give thanks by sharing our abundance. I'm not sure who is doing the plate today. Maybe I am. Oh, how wonderful. Come on down. We are sharing our abundance in a variety of ways, and it matters that we give, but it doesn't matter how we give. These are the choices, and my favorite, of course, is using that scan to give, because I think it's kind of fun. It's not the way I choose. I just do mine online. But you can simply dial the number and donate that way. Maybe if you feel adventuresome, maybe you could try more than one way. And then, of course, our email address, donate, and obviously the scan code. So we're happy that you want to give. That is the most important thing. Giving to the thing that gives you spiritual food is an ancient tradition. It goes back to the earliest Hebrews. They gave back to the source of their spiritual food. And so we are simply following in an ancient tradition as we serve the spiritual food that you receive at this center. So we can say our affirmation as we have if you send it online as I do, hold your hands over your heart or however you choose. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, and so it is, and so it is. And now we're going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving song from Elise Carver.
This song is called My Soul Remembers, and it's by Daniel Namod. My soul remembers your voice when all I hear is frustration and doubt. My soul remembers your grace when the hurt is searing as a desert. Still I never go without. My soul remembers. My soul remembers your touch when my body yearns to be cradled like a child. My soul remembers your strength when a heavy burden's weighing on me. I am sheltered all the while, sheltered all the while, whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or diving the oceans deep, whether in spring or summer, whether I cry or sing. Oh, my soul remembers. My soul remembers your power when I fear I cannot do what must be done. My soul remembers your mercy, blessing the deepest doubt I harbor with the heat of the sun and the kiss of the sun. Whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or oceans deep, whether in spring or summer, I cry or I sing. Oh, my soul remembers. Oh, my soul remembers. My soul remembers your love when the world is unbearable pain. My soul remembers your love shimmering over us a rainbow, rising after the rain. Whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or the ocean deep, if I'm alone or a crowd, feeling humble or proud, silently sulking about or laughing out loud, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, standing timid or strong, whether it's earth I belong, when my last breath is gone, whether I do whatever I see, safe in your arms I'll be. Oh, my soul remembers. Oh, my soul remembers. Oh, my soul remembers. It remembers.
Thank you. One of the things that Ernest Holmes says is the soul is the seat of memory. It is that part of us that never dies, that our body, this shell that we wear in this life, passes away, but the soul always remembers. It always remembers. Does anyone have a question or request for prayer or even a comment? And Mr. Vincent is there in the back to offer a microphone, which helps us all be able to hear what you have to say, if there's anything. We have one down here and in the middle of the front.
It was a marvelous talk. Thank you so much. I'm feeling that yesterday I asked a question or had a request of Spirit, and it had to do with the fact that I feel like I'm living my purpose, but I got kind of stagnant, like,
Right.
What am I supposed to know now? Help me know how to move forward. And I asked YouTube to play Joe Dispenza last night, and I've listened to several of his talks, but this one was answering my question, which was just so amazing. And it was about, I guess, a brain technology to use before you go to sleep, and that your mind, your unconscious, will work things out during your sleep. And it went so well as a companion piece to what you shared today, the asking and the giving of the gift. Last night and again this morning, just very exciting. And I feel like, yes, I know that we are always changing, but I think sometimes we're leaping, And I feel like there was a leap starting last night with a dissatisfaction first of thinking, no, there's more here I need to know, and please show me. So thank you for being a part of that. Yeah.
Do you find that sometimes when you have a question or you're not sure about something at night, and then you go to sleep, that you often understand more in the morning? Is that an experience you've had?
Yes, and that goes very much with what he was teaching. And I realized with what he was saying, oh my goodness, I know you shouldn't listen to the news before you go to sleep, but it is my time to read my exciting adventure stories, which aren't the best thing to go to sleep with. And I thought, I need to read that book earlier in the day and not have it, because I wake up with anxiety, and that's not what I want to do. So I must be going to bed with thoughts that aren't very peaceful, even though I'm not aware of it. So yes, and exactly what he was saying too, that if we prepare our minds before we go to sleep, that our minds will work things out and we will wake up with those answers. And also, we will be attuned to noticing the things that come across our path during the day that we might otherwise miss.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I could say the how part of it, except that, we are more the conscious, we just kind of relax and open.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because I think the two people that are usually here are away today and that are also in the class that meets tomorrow night. And one of the readings that they have literally talks about expecting healing, because the chapter is on healing, doing it as you go to sleep or in sleep. Mm-hmm. And it talks about, praying for children and any number of things in there, but it talks literally about before going to sleep. And this is Troward, so he's been talking about this for a while.
It's exciting, all these connections.
That's it, so there is, I know my personal experience is, I don't necessarily ask questions. I don't think I do when I go to sleep. But what I know I have done, especially on a Tuesday night or a Saturday night before I'm going to speak the next day, I'll have a whole lot of things in my head, and I know by in the morning it's simply going to get ordered in the way I need it. I've done that many times, and I will wake up and go, oh, that's what I need. So it definitely works. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the message. It was wonderful. I'm in the right place.
I can't quite hear you. Can you speak right in there?
I said, thank you for the message. It's the right message I needed today.
Oh.
And it doesn't surprise me that I'm here.
It doesn't surprise me either. That's the way it works. See, your consciousness is reaching out and pulling what you need.
During the week, I got a message that my son, Mark, has colon cancer, and he'll be having surgery and treatments. And I know that everything will be all right, but then there's sometimes that, I'm real worried about it. So your message was great about faith. Just thank you, thank you.
Thank you for what is done, yes. And leave it at that. Sometimes we just don't need to tell God how to do it. That God, the whole process is already got the solution in hand. And that's where the faith comes in too, that we're just not trying to do it ourselves. And is that hard sometimes? Yeah. I can fix that. I can fix that. I've certainly done a lot of fixing in my life that I would have been better to have left up to the divine. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl. I have something that's going to make you laugh. My daughter bought a refrigerator from Costco, and the darn thing has had repairs 3 or 4 or 5 times, and it's still under warranty, and they keep saying, we'll send somebody out, and they do, and this person doesn't know how to fix the refrigerator, and she's just having trouble. And so I went to bed that night thinking, darn it, how can I help her? How can I help her? Do I need to buy her a refrigerator, a new one, and forget the old one? Or, is this a lemon or whatever? So I went to the gym that morning, and on the bulletin board was refrigerator for sale. Brand new, and I called the people, and so I got her a new refrigerator. And it was just like, how did this happen? This is so wonderful. But this is how God works. You say, put in a prayer. You say, I want to end her suffering for a refrigerator. And boom, there you go the next morning. Refrigerator for sale. It just works. It just works.
Congratulations.
It just works.
You have had a demonstration.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
What you've had.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Mr. Ken
Thank you so much for your wonderful service. I have a friend back in North Carolina, young man, he's out of ICU now. He is back, he's with church, the minister's been with him, and he's been reading Mr. Ruchel's 100 Meditations. He's been going through them, him and his wife both. A book was sent to them, and they've been embracing everything they're getting from what was written many years ago. So it's an answered prayer. And he's trying to find his way. He had acute alcoholism. And he realizes the path he needs to follow, and he's got a lot of spiritual help back there, and people from the local, not Science of Mind, but Unitarian Church, they've called to them and they said, we'll be there.
Do you want prayer for that, or you feel like you have that? Okay. You know, sometimes doing something as simple as just knowing that someone knows the truth and knowing that for them. See, you don't even have to know what the truth is for them, because we try not to know things for other people. We try to know that they know what they need to know, because how do I know what any one of you truly need? Because some of us are confused ourselves. So turning that over to the divine to sort this out, it's just like one solution for a lot of things. And so I'm learning that. So I hope that I'm growing the best and the best every day in that way. Yes, Ann.
Well, thank you for, as always, a wonderful service. And I'm getting wonderful demonstrations, and I have a huge project that's going to start, and with just the right contractor. So I'm very happy about that. And just a prayer that I do and take the actions and, you know, operate in a way that moves this along with the least possible or no possible problems.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, that reminds me, you know, I was thinking about contractors and things, and people on Nextdoor sometimes like, who's a good contractor? People just flood in with answers. Before Nextdoor, but when we first moved here, I needed to find a dentist rather quickly. I had 2 school-age children, and both, you know, had to have regular dental care. I had no idea who to pick. I mean, I didn't know people even to ask. And I opened the book, the phone book, I think, in the yellow pages. And so one thing just spoke to me, and I chose this person. And I was particularly interested because he was a pediatric orthodontist, and so my older child really needed that kind of help. It turns out, by going like this, what happened is he is exactly the one that the pediatric orthodontist that we had in Huntsville would have recommended. Isn't that amazing? And that happened to me, you know, like 30 years ago. It just happened because I just decided, I don't know, and I went there. You don't have to know everything. You can simply release any attachment to things and allow the divine to guide you. It truly is, it's almost magical in the way that it works, except that it's not. It's not a miracle. It really is that everything is already known in the mind of God. Everything. And so as you particularize some of that knowledge by asking for it, and just open up and know you're going to get the answer. That's the faith part. You get what you need. Custom made, just like a great big fat dairy product or a great big fat bakery item. Anyone else? And we got one down here in the 4th row.
Hi. Ours is slightly humorous. I use all my...
Would you put it up close to your mouth?
Okay.
Thank you.
I used everything I knew from years of being here, and we were going to sell our ownership in our beloved R Ranch in the Sequoias. It's up above Lake Isabella and Kernville. And we called, and these 2 women in the office, oh, the elders, we remember you. They had done makeup on us for the Halloween haunt because we volunteered to be zombies, and it was quite a lot of fun, and all the kids loved it. They said, oh, well, you don't have to pay that. It was either $2,500 or $3,600 to sell it. And it's not a timeshare. You own it and pay tax on it. And they said, oh, we know somebody who's interested in it. You could just sign yours over to them. I'm going, thank you, Mother. Thank you, Mother, Father God. And then, so we called a couple days ago, and we got somebody else. What office? I don't know anything about that. There isn't any such thing. I went, whoa. I got thrown off that a little bit. So it's almost like I'm asking for a bucking up, when you say cheer up or buck up, to declare that this goes through smoothly with grace and ease. And that's what I'm asking for now. Just got a little thrown off.
So tell me, you want prayer for?
For selling it without having to pay a lot of money.
Just the abundance, right?
Right? And to
Yes.
sell it at all with not a lot of money.
All right.
Thank you.
And so what I know for you is that everything that you need, everything you seek, comes down to you, pressed down and overflowing. And in a way that you know exactly what it is, and you can wrap your mind around it, and know that it endures for you, and you have the faith that this is just the tip of the abundance iceberg that allows you to manifest more and more with that faith. Because everything that you need is already at hand. It is the word, it is the law, it is here, it is now, and you name it and you claim it with great gratitude. And we release that and know that it's done. And so it is. Anyone else? Well, I think even the musician has left the building, so it's time for us to end our service. Thank you all for being here. You're a great, great audience. Thank you.